Action for Climate, Truth and Reparations, working with allies, African Rising, in support of African Rising Rewrite History campaign. Check it out online now. ACTR are a UK organisation of activists looking to rewrite history, to tell the truth of how colonial past has shaped and continues to control both the global south and diaspora, and how this is intrinsically linked to our current climate emergency. Here we have the letter dropped to show the UK government remember that debt in these in African nations means that the people, the children in particular, will always struggle. How can a nation come to its own and provide for its future if it is constantly sat in debt that is accumulating more interest every day that will prevent them from ever realizing the true beauty of a nation and its ability to look after itself? Africans Rising is a Pan-African movement of more than 40,000 people and organisations. African Rising amplifies broad demands connecting struggles, building solidarity and cooperation within and amongst campaigns for social, economic, environmental and gender justice. The signatories are Africans Rising, Black Lives Matter, Leeds and West London, Action for Climate, Truth and Reparations, Nigerian United in the Diaspora, Angel of Youth, Women of Colour, Global Women's Strike, Global Justice Rebellion, Tottenham Community Circles, Hackney Community Circles, Community of Women Against Abuse and Allies, Extinction Rebellion. The letter, a copy can be found online. This is one of many letters sent out by Africans raising the former colonial governments of Europe, Belgium being the first to receive it. Their monarchy responded. King Philip of Belgium recently expressed his deepest regret for acts of violence and brutality committed by his ancestors, King Leopold II in Congo. It is time for our monarchy and our country to do the same. What can people do to be part of the Rewrite History campaign? Let me tell you, come join Africans Rising for Justice, Peace and Dignity. Sign the petition to the Queen asking her to add her name to this call at africans-rising.org. Share information about the campaign and this action on your social media using Rewrite History. Donate. Check out the donate link on Rewrite History. Follow Africans Rising and ACTR on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Retweet and share using the Rewrite History hashtag. Follow Africans Rising and ACTR on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Retweet and share using the Rewrite History hashtag or hashtag Africans Rising, hashtag climate emergency. Recent events have made it blatantly apparent that we must take action against the devastating effects of global history of racism. The climate crisis is deeply tied to our past. How have we exploited the African continent is how we have exploited the planet as a whole. People and planet have been put aside for profit. Many millions have suffered both in the past and today. Now the planet is at a crucial, unavoidable climate emergency. These problems continue to this day unabated, but are in focus as never before. Africa has been burdened with the huge debts since the colonial times, not only through the horror of transatlantic slave trade and post-colonialism, but economic chains of debt and loans. These debts in many cases have been paid many times over, and the benefits were supposed to have reaped have been stolen and squandered by corruption. Reparations, this might not mean cash money, but instead fair trade agreements, debt cancellation, education and development, sharing of resources and knowledge and technology. This begins with acknowledgement and an apology. This is a very complicated issue. There is no simple answers, but this is a conversation we need to have. Reparations have been paid to many groups in the past. Slave owners received huge reparations. Famously, the debt was only paid back in 2015 by the UK taxpayer. The American Japanese community after the internment in World War II, Germany to its enemies after World War I, and many more, not have all been positive. Reparations can have taken many, many forms, but this is a conversation we need to have, and we must have. We are asking for an honest acknowledgement of the human harm and cost of slavery and colonialism. This will lead to positive change. A fairer world is a happier one. We need to urgently change the way we think and act towards each other. The world must heal its wounds, write off debts, and unite to tackle the climate crisis which it now faces. Africa is not a poor continent, but it has been given a deeply unfair set of rules to play by. The gunboat diplomacy and wholesale of exploitation of its resources by previous colonial invaders has and does grave damage. Reparations is not a begging bowl. It is about rewriting history. Huge sums of money were loaned to unelected colonial-friendly dictators who then stole or wasted it, whilst the debts accrued huge interest. Debt repayments are taking the food out of children's mouths and handing it to the wealthiest nations on earth. Children who have not seen an iota of benefit from these loans are burdened with them nonetheless. Please join now and at signs at Africans Rising, at Extinction Rebellion, at Women's Strike, at BLM Leeds, at BLM West London, at Pan-African UK, at Pan-African SOC, at the African Centre, at the Narrative Eye. Sorry, let me go to camera for a little bit, and can you pull up the document again? These allies, and I'm saying this now, every one of you can be an ally. We need every single one of you to stand now in solidarity with African nations. This is no one person's journey, it is all of our journey. We can only do this with truth, healing and reconciliation. And we want the commission set up to provide an access to a journey of peaceful reconciliation. We call upon allies across the globe to stand in solidarity because, we are all human. Let's go to our humanity. How can we look each other in the eye and say that we are equal when so much disparity exists? How can we, as a nation, continue to burden the population in Africa for the crimes that they have not committed? There is no blame or shame here. What is being requested is to acknowledge the past and that we find a way to move forward from it. And to my brothers and sisters in Africa, we are here. Your allies here in the UK are here speaking on your behalf, because we know you don't get to have a voice, but the voices here are ready to stand in allyship with you. The unprecedented future that we face as a global community is one where all nations need to work together. Climate and ecological collapse is upon us. We have little time in order to address this. How can we address the climate collapse that we are facing if we can't address the fact that we are all equal? And in that equality requires every one of us to work towards removing the debt to Africa, because how can Africa at this stage look to protect itself from climate collapse if it's constantly looking to pay interest and debt to this country? And so we here in the UK can do so much. We here can stand and request, especially our Queen, who has always stood by the people of this country. You know, you have stood by the global world. These are your people. You offered your friendship to them now, because there is no more blaming and shaming. We are all one. And you have so much influence. And it's not just the Queen that has influence. Our government has influence. The people of this nation has so much influence. Citizens of the UK, please make your presence known. Stand in solidarity with African nations, because this is no individual journey. You know, to raise a child takes a village, or to raise and protect us from climate collapse will take an entire nations of global nations to address it. So my pain is going to be your pain soon if we are not ready to stand side by side to address the climate collapse that's about to happen. And I want to give a big shout out to these beautiful climbers that have managed to put themselves at risk in offering solidarity to the nations of Africa. Countries of Africa, we are here. We hear you. To our UK Queen, please hear their call, hear their cries, because it's now. Because soon it will be never if we don't all work together to deal with the climate collapse that's about to explode, and every one of us will be experiencing that climate collapse. Why is it time to rewrite history? The global expression of pain and protest provoked by the brutal and violent police killings of a black citizen in the United States of America has sparked a movement that points to the need for conversations and actions to acknowledge and to rectify the injustices of racism, a product of violent history of colonialism and slavery across the globe. This is a monumentous occasion to call on all world leaders to add their voice to the efforts of people everywhere. For this reason, Africans Rising movement is calling for these leaders to take action so that leaders in countries like England, Belgium, France, and many other countries can start to right the wrongs of the past and inspire similar actions in other European countries. What are our demands? Honest acknowledgement of of the harm and human cost of slavery and colonialism, Truth and Healing Commission, reparations. Our petition at Rewrite History campaign continues to grow. Africans Rising petition more leaders across the globe. How can you join the movement to rewrite history, you ask? Register to become an Africans Rising member and receive our newsletters and updates on the Rewrite History campaign. Attend our hashtag Rewrite History webinars. Follow hashtag Rewrite History conversations online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Share your thoughts on the movement by using the hashtag Rewrite History. Join the hashtag Rewrite History working group. Contact hashtag Rewrite History campaign lead. Sungu Oyu at Africans-Rising.org. Go back to the initial one. I'll just reread it again. And what a glorious morning it is. These climbers, just so you know, the temperature is freezing. My hands are frozen. So the fact that these allies have managed to scale this building, and let me give you an impression of the size of this building, means that they've put themselves at great risk and had to endure freezing conditions in their hands to climb those scaffolding right now. I'm going to take you further out so that you can see how epic this particular action has been and the bravery that they have shown in order to create this for Africans Rising. We are here on the Thames at Parliament Houses here in the UK. As you can see, this building is pretty significant, and the height at which that they've had to take this on. Here in UK, London, we have allies standing with African nations. They are here to provide a platform, to be the voice that the African people are struggling to be heard. Hear their voices. They need you to hear their voices. No longer is it acceptable to allow the colonial past to continue to rip through African nations and to continue to burden them with this debt that will not allow for them to breathe. How are they supposed to continue to thrive and develop and protect themselves from the oncoming climate collapse that's about to hit all nations? This is a global epidemic. We need every nation now to stand up and work together. And this is a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Nobody is asking for blame and shame. We accept and acknowledge the past, but we are asked that the past is now addressed. Please sign the Queen's petition. You can see it on the feed here. Drop down. Also on the feed here, you will also find lots more information in the text that's been written up. Please do some research. You know, it takes the nations of nations to fix this. There's no one person alone that can do this. We need everyone to line up together, because what future have we got? What future are we going to provide our children if we can't address the climate collapse that's about to take us all? And when I say the climate collapse is about to take us all, it truly is. Scientists after scientists across the globe have been raising the alarm, and yet our government has stood here and refused to take action. How can governments across the globe not hear the calling? The alarm is being raised loud and clear. This is a degradation of duty. the duty that requires every one of us now. If our governments aren't acting, we call upon the people of the planet to stand up and to be counted. Your voice counts. When every one of us stands together, governments will listen. But this is a plea here right now to our government here in the UK. Please stand and do the right thing. Rewrite history. The historians and future generations will look at this opportunity to say, yes, the people raised the alarm, our government listened, and they took action. This is a call for all governments to take action now. These are the brave climbers right now. Again, I show you, look at them. This is what allyship looks like. And any one of you can be an ally here in the UK to all those beautiful people in African nations. Don't stand by, take action. There is many links here on this live feed that you can look up. You can also leave messages on this live feed. If you are someone who is influential or has some means of helping to create this campaign into a worldwide movement, drop some ways of contacting you on here, and we will contact you. Under the pressure, if you see, we have the pressure. Look at this. It's a glorious, beautiful morning here in London. How many glorious mornings can we see? Will our children see? Will our children see these glorious mornings without having to wake up and worry about what's about to unfold? And remember, if we don't remove the debt now, what are we saying? That climate collapse means that other nations, populations from other nations, they will be emigrating and moving across the globe. So they'll be trying to join us here, when what we need is to provide them the ability to stay in their own countries and address the climate collapse that's about to happen. And if this government is serious about saying that it has no more space for other people, then come on. Release the money, release them of the burden of debt from colonial past, and let them address their own countries so that they can provide for their own people. This is about provision. If you take away the means of providing for the African people, then where else are they going to go? They will be destined to a country like this. So let's interlink the change. One effect here to one effect there. We are brothers and sisters. We can do this. The time is now to do it. And remember, there's no blame and shame here. We are asking nations to work together so that we can survive as human species. This is the survival of the human species going forward, guys. There's nothing else left. If we don't understand the burden of the collapse that's about to engulf us all, then we will see that our borders will be full. We're already seeing climate collapse in many nations leading to migration. We'll see more migration if we don't address the burden of debt that we put on African nations. Anything else? Yeah, I'll do it again. The Rewrite History campaign are asking for an honest acknowledgement of the harm and human costs of slavery and colonialism. An open letter urging Britain to follow Belgium's example and start making amends for the harm caused by slavery and colonialism in Africa. Let that sink in. They're asking for amends. They're not asking for revenge. Amends. Can you imagine how beautiful the African nations are? They're not asking for revenge. They're asking for amends. Imagine that. How much humility and courage and beauty and love are the African nations showing here. No revenge, just amends. The letter is part of the Rewrite History campaign, led by Pan-African social movement, Africans Rising, seeking to redress for the injustices committed by colonial powers. The campaign calls for Truth and Healing Commission to investigate the impact of slavery and colonialism. Can you imagine? That's what they're asking, for truth and healing. What amazing people are these? What amazing souls these human beings are. They're asking for truth and healing. Wow, it is in our power here in the UK to provide that. This Truth and Healing Commission is similar to the one that Belgium's Parliament approved in June. Reparations for the human cost. Belgium has done this, guys. This is doable. It is within our power here in the UK to demand this from our government. If Belgium can do it, we can do it. Let us be on the right side of history. We act in peace and we act in solidarity. Wow. Can you believe that? They're acting in peace. They're not coming to demand anything but peace from our nation. And we're asking for solidarity. Do you know solidarity? What that word means? Can we explore that word a little bit here? Because solidarity means that as a human person, as an individual, acknowledges that my brothers and sisters in Africa are also human, but also deserve the opportunity to have love, have safety, have security, to thrive in their own nations. We have that ability here in this country. Why would we prevent another person, another human being with a soul and a heart that beats just like ours, the opportunity to have that? ACTR is Action for Climate, Truth and Reparations, working with our allies, Africans Rising, in support of the Africans Rising Rewrite History campaign. ACTR are a UK organisation of activists looking to rewrite history, to tell the truth of our colonial past and how it has shaped and continues to control both the global south and African nations, and how this is intrinsically linked to our current climate emergency. Africans Rising is a Pan-African movement of more than 40,000 people and organisations. African Rising amplifies broad demands connecting struggles, building solidarity and cooperation within and amongst campaigns for social, economic, environmental and gender justice. The signatories here today are Africans Rising. Give them a big shout out, guys. Africans Rising, and they're rising, yes. Big shout out to Africans Rising. Black Lives Matter, big shout out. Marvina, well done, girl. Leeds of West London, Black Lives Matter. Action for Climate, Truth and Reparations. Nigerian United in the District of Youth. Women of Colour, Global Women's Strike. Yes, women, we can do this. Yes, women of colour, it is our time. It is our time to show that this can and will be delivered by the women of our countries. The women of our countries, come on, stand. Let us show what women can do. Let us show across the globe. We have seen many women stand, from Poland to India to America. This is the time, women. We can do it, because we no longer wait for the elite in power that are often men that have been destroying our nations and our people for centuries. Women, I call upon you to stand now, especially women of colour. This is your time to take the stand and take the lead. We are the mothers and daughters and sisters and aunties. Yes, we give birth to the human being that we're trying to protect. It's let us out, let us at the front, because now is our time. No longer do we stand by and watch corrupt politicians and people in power, often found in the hands of men, to dictate our futures, our children's future and our future. This is time for the world of women to look after the future, the existing children and future children to come. Let us protect them. We are the mothers of the globe. We are the mothers of the earth. We are the mothers of the children's children. Let's not forget what power we hold, and we do. We come with a power, and when you hear a woman roar, and thousands and millions of us women roar, be ready to take action, because the acting time is now. There is no other time to act. Please do not sit down. Stand up. Sing your songs, women. Stand up. Have your voice heard. Stand up. Demand the change that's needed. Also, we have a crowdfunder set up for climate and truth reparations crowdfunding. Now, see these brave people here? They are now going to be obviously arrested by police, which they're going to do happily, because that's what they've agreed to be arrested. But then we have to legal campaign to help support these amazing allies that have stood to help African nations have a voice. So please do donate, because this is going to cost a lot of money to get these beautiful allies out of the legal cases that they're about to endure. So please do donate if you can. We understand that this is not a demand. It's only if you can help donate, please donate. Look at these beautiful people, huh? Can you imagine what they've risked, the height of which they have stood up? They have privileged, and this is what they have shown here. So white allies here have shown what privilege looks like. They have means, skills, and liberty to command and bring to fore the demands of what African people need. This is what allyship looks like. I urge you across the globe, show allyship to Africans rising, so that they may be free of the colonial past and the debt that is still being accumulating interest as we speak. How, for slavery, can they still be paying debt? For a nation, this nation was built on the backs of slavery. How can we still be demanding money when they gave their lives and their souls to build this nation? And yet here we are, still asking them to pay money. Just let that sink in. We're asking African nations and their people to still pay money when their people were enslaved and helped build this country. Can you imagine what that means? That a child in Africa is having their parents' wage in some way being taken and given to this country. That's what we're doing. We're taking the food out of the mouth of children in Africa. Stand up, people. This is the time to stand up. It is such a serious subject, and I forget that really that we have to also bring our smiles, bring our hearts, bring our compassionate voice, our compassionate self, bring all of us, every part of us that can help build these bridges to reconciliation. Because, you know what? Check it out. Nobody's speaking here in anger. Nobody's bringing any fight to the table. What are they asking? Let me read out what they're asking. So this letter that you see hanging from the building here is saying, to the people of the United Kingdom, we appeal you to join us. We Africans rising for justice, peace and dignity seek to unite Africans on the continent and the diaspora. We need your help to heal the wrong of the past and to dismantle the racism of the present. The tragedies of slavery and colonialism are not experienced by Africans alone. The exploitation of people and the environment continues to cause suffering that is plain to see. The brutal killing of George Floyd stemmed from this unbroken thread of systematic racism. You must have heard the world echo with the words #Black Lives Matter. Britain was the largest colonializer in Africa and across the globe. Let that sink in. Britain was the largest colonializer in Africa and across the globe. It benefited from the it benefited and perpetuated the slave trade, and thus owes a particular responsibility to redress the injustices of the past. Consequently, we appeal for these actions.
I've sent you the picture of what the banner says. So
An honest acknowledgement of the harm and human cost of slavery and colonialism. Actions taken during the colonial period are tantamount to the most gross violation of human rights in world history.
See it now, I don't know where they've gone now.
The British government should provide a heartfelt and genuine apology. Can you believe that? They're asking for an apology. How hard is it to provide an apology? Looks like one of our beautiful allies who is on the ground. She's being approached now, I think. Oh, no, just a false alarm. So I'll continue with the letter. 2, they're asking for truth and healing commissions. We ask for active support of existing commissions and the immediate establishment of new ones to create a space for all Africans to express their sorrow. The UK government, like its Belgium,
There's someone
should begin a truth and reconciliation process with regard to its colonial ties. Wow. You know, how long have the African people suffered? And here they are asking for a truth and healing commissions. How hard can that be? Is the